Hello and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work, episode 86 to be exact. All right, as promised, this will be part two of my exploitation of the unattended Windows setup utility file. But this time, I'm going to be using a more automated approach to things, and the tool that I'll be using is something called PowerUp. .ps1, which is going to give me some escalated privileges in order to run some commands to find our unattended file here directly on the Windows system. And then I'll be kind of working backwards from what I did last time. So last time I started off in the Kali machine and um, and worked myself to the Windows machine. I'm starting off in the Windows machine this time, and I'm going to work my way back to the Kali machine. But a few steps are going to be actually go by a lot quicker since this is again more automated. However, let me preface this video with my usual disclaimer that anytime that I'm doing any sort of offensive security or red teaming activities, that this is for educational research and ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my videos, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so jumping in here, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my command line utility. So going here to the search menu and typing in search CMD. All right, there you go. My system finally caught up with me. Let's increase the font here a bit. Okay. All right, and then we can maximize the screen. All right, and the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to do a who am I command. Again, we can clearly see who am I is that I'm student, but it's always good to double check. So I'm going to say who am I, and it should return back as student. All right, which it does. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to hop into the directory that my PowerUp.ps1 file is actually located in. So in order to do that, I'm going to say cd dot desktop PowerSploit and Privesc. All right. And that should take me into that directory. Now that I'm in that directory, let's list out the contents. I'm going to do a dir. All right. So if we look at the second file listed here, we can see that PowerUp.ps1 file. But before I go to execute that, I'm going to need to bypass the local execution policies of this machine. So if we remember from my first video, I touched on execution policies, which basically regulate whether I can or how I can execute files on a local machine, executable files on local machine. So you have restricted, unrestricted, etc., etc. So I'm not going to even look to see what those current rules are on this machine. I'm just going to bypass it. All right, so I could continue to be able to run this executable file here in order to gain my escalated privileges to continue to run even more powerful commands. All right, so I'm gonna say PowerShell -EP for execution policy, and I'm gonna say bypass. All right, so now that I've done that, now I can actually run that file. So I'm gonna say dot and then backslash and then the name of the file is PowerUp.ps1. All right. All right. Now what this is going to do, this is going to enable me then to run another command. All right, and this next command is it's going to basically execute any function, all functions that check for various window privilege escalation opportunities that's here on this machine. So any sort of vulnerabilities that may be present for me to be able to elevate my privileges, it's going to find that. So the idea in running this command is for it to be able to find that unattended Windows setup file. All right, amongst other vulnerabilities, but that's the primary one that I'm looking for here. So I'm gonna say invoke, and I'm gonna say privescape, and then audit. All right, let's see what happens. Hope I didn't break this here. All right, let's see. Let's do a command. Let's stop that. Okay. Oh, I actually found it. Okay. All right. Got a little impatient there. Okay. So it um, actually did find our unattend.xml in the same directory that it was found last time under the C drive and Windows Panther unattend. So let's hop in there. All right. So let's hop in there and let's look at that file and let's see if it's still giving us that vital information that we used last time in the form of the obfuscated password, but the clear text um, administrator account. All right, so let's see what's going on. All right, so looking here at the markup code here, we can see we can see the password tags that within the value tags we have that obfuscated password. All right, and then if we look at the plain text tag, that's set to false. So this tells us that this is indeed obfuscation and not the actual password itself. So once again, we're going to need to crack it. It looks very similar to the last password that I used in my previous video. So I'm going to take a stab at the base 64 decoding again. And then if we go a little further down here, we can see within the username tags that a clear text administrator is present. So we know that that is the username. All right, copy that. All right, so to begin decoding this, I'm gonna have to say, and this is going to be a bit more complex than it was when I did this in Linux. How I ran like one simple command line, that just a base 64 command, and then gave it the um the file name, where I had to run actually three different commands to get that done here in Windows. All right, so let's paste that. All right. All right, so first I have to give it the password, and now I have to actually tell it to decode this password by writing this very long line of syntax here, so bear with me. Right. Okay, so basically in so many words here, I'm telling Windows to basically convert this string here from base 64 to plain text. All right. So let's see if that works. All right. And then now the third command that I have to do is I have to actually tell it to echo out that password to me. All right, and that worked. So we have the same password that I got last time, admin at 123. So let me copy that. All right, so now that I have that password, let's try to log into this account. All right, so I'm gonna use the same command I did last time. I'm gonna say run as.exe user. Then I'm gonna specify administrator. Then we're going to open this up in another command line. All right, and then so once that command window comes up, then I'm going to give it the password. Well, actually, I'm going to give it the password now. All right, so all right, there we are. So let me say, who am I? Just to verify. I'm an administrator. All right, so I'm gonna just let's see. Let's change the font on this now. All right. Okay, so now that I'm logged in as administrator, um, now I'm going to hop on to my Linux machine here, hop into the Metasploit framework, and I actually need to host the file here. But let me do an ifconfig so I can see what my IP is here. Okay, so my IP here is 10.10.484. We're going to need that. For when I set up my web server. All right, so let's start up the PostgreSQL um, database along with the Metasploit framework. And hold on, let's increase the font on this too. Let's see, probably had to minimize that. Let me see. There we go. All right, let's change that to 24. There we go. All right, then maximize it. Okay. Okay, wow, for once it didn't give me the gobbledygook. All right, knock on wood. All right. All right, so as this is loading up, so those who may have seen my previous video are wondering when I said I'm going to host this file, why am I going to the Metasploit framework? Because last time I actually utilized Python. This time I'm going to use a module within the Metasploit framework to host a simple web server, and it's going to basically have a payload attached to it. And so again, use our imaginations here. I'm going to be downloading or executing that payload from the Windows in order to start a interpreter session here. So all right, so in order to get that started, all right, I need to say use, ah, there it is. Okay, use exploit slash Windows miscellaneous, then HTA underscore server. All right. All right. So we're going to use that, and then let's see, show options. All right. Just make sure everything is set, which everything should be set by default. So we can see that that my IP address is set as the listening host or the local host, and then I didn't create a payload with a specific listing port, so we can just leave that the way it is. All right, and so I am going to run this. Well, exploit it, since this is an exploitation module. Exploit. All right, so I'm going to need to, I don't believe I can copy from machine to machine. I mean, I can try, but I don't think I can. Yeah, see. Ugh, yeah, it just knocked me out of it. All right, that's no longer good. All right, so let's try that again. Exploit. All right, won't do it. Let's see. I think I may have goofed up. Let me see sessions. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Just exit to. Okay, let's do that. Okay, server stopped. Okay, I just may have to go back and set that up again since I kind of goofed up there. All right, so let's run that again. All right, exploit. Okay, I ain't going to even try to copy it this time. So let's just DXOZ. I'm going to try to remember a few characters at a time. All right, so now on this side, I have to tell it to basically, tell it to download the MSHTA.exe file from HTTP. All right, and then I believe my IP address was 10.10. Let's see, let me go back here. 48.4, okay. 4. All right, and then that was using port 8080. All right, and then all right, I think that was DXOZ. Let's double check that. Yep, DXOZ MUEIE IE. Let me see, I think it was .h2. Let me see. 7Q. Okay, I forgot 7Q. Okay. All right, let's go fill those in. 7Q. Okay, HTA. Okay. Let's check in everything here. All right, so this should start up a interpreter session for me. Sorry about that. All right. All right, let's see. They're in payload. All right, looks like our interpreter session is starting up for us. All right, in order for me to actually, when this happens, I'm actually going to have to jump into the sessions. All right, then instance, the dash ones for instance, dash I, excuse me, instance, and we want instance one. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, so remember, this is capture the flag. All right, so now that we got our interpreter session with the target machine. So again, what just happened here? So with my elevated admin privileges here. Okay, I was able to log into the admin account just like I was in a previous video. All right, so because I was an admin user, then I had the elevated privileges when I clicked on the malicious when I interacted with the malicious web server here to download this file. Upon downloading it, immediately it started up this interpreter session with the Kali machine. All right. So now that I got that session, I'm going to dig around a bit within the local directory of the Windows machine. So I'm in this at this time. I'm not going to jump all the way in the machine. I'm gonna see if I could try to get the flag without having to execute the shell. So I'm gonna say cd um, / to try to. I'm gonna go back to the root of the C drive. All right, that looks like it worked. So I'm going to go directly into the administrator's desktop here. So I'm gonna say C / users, and then we want to say / administrators with a um, capital A. Oops, what the pikes? No, should be okay. And then we want to go into the desktop. If this doesn't take me straight into it, I'm just gonna just keep changing directories up until I get to the desktop. But let's see. Nope, that worked. All right, and let's dig around in it. Let's say dir for directory. All right, and we see the second file here is flag.txt. All right, so I'm gonna say type flag.txt. Let me see. Maybe I have to do a cat since I'm not all the way into the system. There we go. All right, and so it gave me the output of that flag. All right, so to give a brief overview of what I was able to accomplish here. So I pretty much did the same exploitation that I conducted in my previous video, except this time I immediately started in the Windows box and I used that PowerUp.psi utility. All right, but first I started up um, um, by I started up by going into the directory and where the tool is located. Then first, before I could even execute that tool, I had to bypass the execution policy of that local machine. All right, and then once I did that, I was able to run that power up dot ps1 file, which escalated my privileges in order for me to then run the next command, which basically um, executes all possible functions that can check for various Windows privilege escalation vulnerabilities within the system. And the idea of doing that was to be able to find that unattended Windows file, which it did. All right, so once I got a hold of that file, I viewed the contents of it again. So our obfuscated password and our plain text username. So again, decoded that base 64 password, got the clear text password, took those credentials, all right, and then basically logged in as in a new session as administrator. All right, so once I gained that session, hopped over here to the Kali machine, hosted a malicious web server, which basically has a malicious payload attached to it, which immediately upon download executes and establishes the interpreter session. And again, using our imaginations here, if I use some type of social engineering method, I got the victim or the administrator on that end, or if it was all me, I did it intentionally, depending on how you want to look at things. Click basically downloaded this HTA file from this malicious web server here, and that's what opened up this interpreter session. Um, then I dug around within the local directory of the Windows machine, and didn't even have to use a shell here. Just totally within my interpreter session was able to retrieve and view the contents of the flag. And again, the flag is always symbolic of sensitive information that I can pretty much exfiltrate, modify, delete, copy, anything that I may want to do with that sensitive information. All right. So please like, share, and subscribe. Show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.